Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of October 19th, 2023. The current character challenge is Arkham Killer Croc. That is a 1 week repeat, and the required characters for that are Harley Quinn, Flash, and Sinestro, who you can all get as low as bronze directly from the shop. So this is great for newer players. His passive is Apex Predator, which is Killer Croc gains armor when he tags in or does a special attack. And Arkham characters' special attack use also give Killer Croc armor. He's got 1,240 health, 1,240 attack, I should say, and 1,360 health, and was the last available on the 22nd of December, 2022.
Yeah, Arkham Killer Croc is a spectacular tank.
Yeah.
We've demonstrated him a few times before. Link in the description for a playlist with a bunch of Arkham Killer Croc videos. And so when we last used Arkham Killer Croc on a team in December 2022, we were taking advantage of his strength as a tank, with his passive to build armor when the teammate did the special. So he wasn't doing specials a lot. It was the teammate. I think it might have even been Arkham Knight Catwoman. So you can see the video in that playlist where we talk about all the reasons why that works as a great Arkham team, why he is such a great tank on that team. It's just so easy to generate the armor. And we said this was one of the reasons why Tantu Totem was such a game changer, not just for the characters doing specials and holding Tantu Totem, but also from teammates who benefit from others doing specials. So today's demonstration, the video that you're watching, is an attempt to make him the special specialist, which is what we've been doing in a lot of these videos in the sequence where we're using the challenge characters of the week that they're available. Mm-hmm. And so as much as we've played around with optimizing him around his weaknesses, he's just not great as the main guy. And so you can see that the team is an unorthodox one. Killer Croc is the only Arkham character on this team. And the progression was, we start off with the usual Arkham Knight Batgirl teammate, but we found that we weren't getting the chance to take advantage of her passive to rescue Killer Croc and drop a bomb on the opponent. And the reason why, he was just too good of a tank. So when he's doing the specials, he's generating armor still, meaning that he would often outlast his teammates.
Yeah.
So each tagging gives armor that I think is the equivalent of about 10%, maybe a little bit less. And a special 2 gives somewhere around 20 to 25%. Because I think after 2 tag-ins and 3 special 2s, it looks like visually he's got full armor that's the full size of his health bar.
Yeah.
So
although it's hard to tell if it's exactly the same size as his health bar. I guess we just don't know for sure.
Right. So because he is our special specialist, if a special 2 is unable to knock out the opponent, we are not leaving him to eat the damage, despite being a tank. We were tagging him out so that we can get power back on tag in. That was the initial sort of inclination. Because, he has the armor. You think maybe you just leave him in. But if you can do something really quick, it's often better. Like that's why we've got Hawkgirl there. So this means that we are eventually using Arkham Knight Batgirl before Arkham Killer Croc gets knocked out, which means she has a chance of getting knocked out first before getting a chance to rescue him. Mm-hmm. The bigger problem is that his special 2 very often will not knock out an opponent because the damage is halved because it does bleeding damage over time. And the amount of damage over time is substantial, but it is still damage over time, so that you're very often left facing an opponent that is bleeding out but not knocked out yet. So Tantu Totem won't give you your power back. So I was looking at the wiki because I was trying to figure out, because the amount of damage that he does is really, the damage over time is really huge.
Yeah. And
what the wiki is saying is it's actually slightly more than the damage that you lose for him doing damage over time.
Oh, interesting.
So if the opponent stays in the full 6 seconds, they will take twice the damage. So he is pretty good, like pretty great.
Yeah, high damage is just a little bit slower.
Yeah. But what makes him even worse, though, because he's not knocking them out. So when you rely on Tantu Totem, I think the key is you want to knock them out to get your power back. There's also a really severe period after his special 2 where he's just standing there. He can't block sometimes. He can't tag out, even if the cooldown clock is done. Like, even if you would otherwise be able to do it, it's because he's just on a special and he's just standing there waiting. He can't even block. It leaves him vulnerable, which is why one of his teammates has to be Hawkgirl to limit the times that he is really stuck. And so we tried using Rebirth Raven as the third character, but because it was standing around after doing a special 2, we can't tag her in fast enough to steal the opponent's power.
Mm.
So when we try to tag her in, we do our special 2 with Arkham Killer Croc. The opponent, even if they take it, even if they eat it and they're knocked down and stuff, and we want to tag out so that we can steal the opponent's power that we just gave them a bunch from doing all the hits on our special, they do a special on us, so there's no power for Rebirth Raven to steal when she tags in.
Mm.
So that's why we swapped out Rebirth Raven for Red Lantern Hal Jordan, because when he tags in, he always has power. And giving Hal Jordan the Claw of Horus for Shattering Gears leaves the third slot in Killer Croc free to have Quake Engine to boost his weak specials damage, but really it increases the amount of bleed damage over time, making him way more effective. Like 1.5 times against a character that has a bar of power or less. It's visually, it's pretty stunning. Like when you see somebody tag in and they've got the what's the word? When it restarts, the restarted damage over time.
Yeah.
It bleeds them out really fast. So even though we're doing all these things to work around his weaknesses, this sort of solves the problem of his special 2 being very ineffective if it's going to be your main damage output. And it's the reason why, despite this, I feel like this team is the best way to make him the main damage dealer on your overall sort of team. Like, we're not making the best team, we're making the best team with him as the star. It is not the most effective team with him on it. I think that really is the Arkham team, because he's a super tank. He's not such a great offensive weapon, especially if you want him to be your main offensive weapon. And the one thing is, you're really super vulnerable, more so than any other team, against Blackest Night Flash team, because they will reverse the damage over time. He does a lot of it. He does less special 2 damage given his attack stat compared to even Arkham Knight Catwoman, who we prefer to use. Mm-hmm. And but it reminds me of the saying. I heard this once. It's about playing cards. You can't make a hand out of a foot. And I feel like he's the big foot. He's great tank. Mm-hmm. He's not really that great when you try to make him something else.
Fair enough. Okay. So this is the 178th week of a repeating pattern that first appeared in May of 2020. That's 4 complete cycles of a 43-week sequence, and we are 6 weeks into the 5th cycle, with next week being Killer Frost. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So there we go.
So we're waiting for the opportunity. Either they're going to come around again, or if there's something that presents itself as an opportunity to stick them on the team with whoever's that week, or if that week does not appeal to us, we still need to do John Stewart Green Lantern Arkham Origins Bane as the star with a minor bit of analysis.
Yeah. So there's 23 challenge characters, unfortunately, that are missing from that rotation.
Right.
This week's multiplayer award is the Sengoku helmet, which becomes Batman Ninja helmet. And when it's fully maxed out, you are left with a 40% max health increase. For every 5% of available power, damage received is reduced by 2.3%. For every 10% of available power, you get a crit chance increased by 3% only on Batman characters. And the evolved ability, which is a 50% chance to resist power drain. This was last available on the 16th of March 2023. That's 146 weeks in a row of a pattern. So 4 cycles of 31 rewards, 22 in a 5th cycle, with nothing missing, unlike the challenge cycle. Next week should be Scarecrow Ventilator Mask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is a very good tank defensive gear.
And better than that, it's interesting.
Yeah. Generally, we don't lean very heavily on defensive gears, but we had it originally, like way back when, we had it on our loadout of our first one of our original versions of the Justice League team that had New 52 Superman, because New 52 Wonder Woman could keep on giving power that would trigger his passive, and that would boost up his offensive potential bigly, so the gear slots could be used to make him almost invulnerable. And you could give New 52 Superman all defensive gears, make him invulnerable except against damage over time or gear shatters, and he would be pretty great last man standing. And because he wasn't the specialist, right, it played perfectly into how he would eventually come in, because he would be needed for mop-up after power's already been spent by Wonder Woman a bunch of times, and Wonder Woman gets knocked out. So the main problem for me with this gear, which is why it is no longer part of our Justice League loadout, is that to get the best benefit out of two of the abilities, reduce damage taken, crit chance increase for Batman, you cannot use your power. And I mean, it's good that the abilities are in line with each other, and the last evolved ability protects the power that you're hoarding, but it still comes down to you have to save your power. So you're really avoiding using specials. So one of the better uses would be on Red Lantern Hal Jordan, where he almost always has 3 bars of power to give you reduced damage and increased crit chance. And the only time that he doesn't is right after doing special, when you need to wait for him to power back up. And since he loses health with each special, he's the one guy who you would potentially be hoarding his power. And even if you're not hoarding his power, you're just spending it, you know, randomly, not randomly, but like we are in these videos where we're using it to shatter the gears on the opponents. His health is only low temporarily. And facing an opponent with this gear is actually another reason to have somebody who shatters gears, like we are doing with Red Lantern Hal Jordan on this team. And if you're facing Batman Ninja if you're facing Batman Ninja Batman with this helmet, he sometimes takes very low or 0 damage unless you shatter his gears or you do a bunch of damage over time. So I think you have to be prepared for that possibility when you're setting up your team.
Yeah, the only good news is that the enemy team will use their specials on you and not hoard them.
Yes.
So they don't get the sort of permanent damage protection that you can give yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, moving on to the store, we've got the Killer Frost bundle for $24.99 Canadian. We're going to give all prices in Canadian dollars because this is where I say that's the information we have, and this is where you say that's the only currency that matters.
Because it's true.
So this is a corroborating clue, sort of our second piece of evidence that next week's challenge is going to be Killer Frost. It comes with that 100,000 power credits. It doesn't unlock a copy for you to buy in the store, so you know, it's all right. It's not a terrible deal compared to the other deals that are offered, but in my opinion, way too expensive.
Right.
We also have the Arkham Asylum pack. That's for $52.99.
Well, specifically Arkham Asylum Pack 1.
Oh, that's true.
Because they have those 2 different ones, right?
Oh, sorry, it's not for $52.99. I don't know. I'm looking at the old prices. It's for $24.99 Canadian.
Yeah, that was the one peak price. Like there was 1 week there it came in. And it was more than twice as much as it has been any other week.
Yeah. For seemingly no reason. Yeah, that number, the big one, really drew my eye. So it comes with Arkham Knight Batman on the cover, but you actually only get Arkham Origins Batman, Arkham Origins Deathstroke, and Arkham Harley Quinn.
And that new, more powerful that they say is a reference to a change that happened a long, long time ago before her stats were, or when her stats were buffed. And she got the extra part of her passive for Unblockable Special 2 for teammates. Because originally she was just a health boost, which was pretty lame. Like she was weaker and she only had a health boost. The better pack is that other Arkham pack, which is also $24.99, that gives you a chance at a bunch of different Arkham characters, including Arkham Knight Batman, who is on the cover of this pack and is not available in this pack.
Yeah. I guess the only advantage of this one would be if you want to specifically buy a bunch of copies of a pack and get your, like, characters to a higher elite level.
Yeah.
But that sounds like way too much money to spend.
And it is a good team. Like, don't get me wrong, this team composition, it's a not bad one. Yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty effective. We actually got some videos using exactly this team.
Yeah, so I guess if you have hundreds of dollars to spend on Injustice Mobile, then, you know, maybe
so
it's not the worst deal. But
maybe you would be buying Ultimate Bundle Bringers of Justice, which is around for second week, because that's $125.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. A bunch of other packs that have been around. Most of the other things have been there for almost 2 years, at least almost 2 years or even longer.
Yeah, and so at that point, it's almost like we don't talk about the fact that there's a gold pack, a silver pack, and a bronze pack every week.
Right. Phantom Zone is finished. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was, as expected, Sinestro, Green Arrow, and Scorpion. Coming weekend is probably going to be for the Joker, Nightwing, and Darkseid. Link in the description to a thread in the Injustice Mobile subreddit from Devlin16 that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle.
So there we go. This isn't the first week of the month, so we are not going into the sort of full complete glitch discussion. If you want to look at that, you can go to the Q&A for the 5th of October for this month's version of that. The only thing that's important to note is that we tested and confirmed the challenge reset to still be working. And that's all for the content. So to finish up, we'd like to give a huge thank you to our wonderful supporters on Patreon. That's Michael Devries, Irvin, Ruiz, and Hoshi127 on the accredited level. And the names scrolling past that have supported us at some point during the pandemic. Thank you so much for your support, and thanks so much to all of you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Komoda.